Love Manifests Truth focuses on taking our audience through a journey to heal the inner child. We are making the effort to raise our consciousness and to examine the belief systems that have helped shape our perspective of reality. When looking through the eyes of our history and how we are taught to socialize, I see a need for action due to the fear and hurt being manifested on a grand scale. I see this unfolding between the self-sabotaging beliefs we consistently tell ourselves to the crime and violence decaying our society. Healing and understanding of our reality can be done from a mature place of love and empathy, as love is the only driving force for evolution. Healing is done through learning to love and accept ourselves, but in order to do that, we must be willing to strip away the veil to reveal who we are and how we got here. Love Manifests Truth gives us a chance to be vulnerable in open discussion, allowing ourselves to think outside the box rather than just accept what we are told to believe. It is through our healing journey that we will find our path home to our true selves. If this information resonates with you, I invite you to come with an open mind to welcome open discussion with the aim to heal and rediscover self. We will be hosting Love Manifest Truth on the 30th of every month on YouTube at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For our first topic of discussion, we will be talking about love, what society has taught us versus what it actually is. I invite you to Love Manifest Truth. The divine within me welcomes the divine within you as we raise our consciousness to welcome the unveiling. Join us.
Hi guys, welcome, and this is Love Manifest Truth. I am still working out the kinks. Like this. And talking to my admin had some technical difficulties, but yeah. Welcome to Love Manifest Truth. I am your host, Alethea, and yeah, I would call this my first attempt at really podcasting. So yeah, Love Manifest Truth. What is this about? So the reason why I really wanted to have this podcast was because I realized that a lot of chaos been going on in the world, especially on social media. It's broadcasted all day, every day. Especially I can see that with my dad, with a lot of male female friction, and you see it being mirrored with our children, younger generation as well. And I'm like, it just feels like a lot of our society or reality is distorted. It doesn't reflect that of our creator, and we are an extension of our creator. So I'm like, something is wrong. So I wanted to create a platform where we're able to kind of zone in on everything, get away from all the chaos, and create a safe space where we can freely have open discussion, look at ourselves internally, and get away from the external. So hopefully you'll find some value in what it is I have to say. Find some value in the podcast. I would love to have interaction with you guys, but for now, let's just have this. Also, you can always find me on TikTok. You can find Love Manifest Truth on TikTok, where you'll find little posts that I've created that that basically these are lessons that I've learned over the years, or even over the years of learning to love myself. And I recognize that we are acting like like a group of people who have not learned to love themselves, and you see it manifesting in the decisions that we make for ourselves and how we treat each other. So we're giving ourselves a chance to look at our inner selves, working out our trauma, and learning to let go of whatever hurt we've experienced, whether we've inflicted it on other people. And as karma does what karma does, it comes right back to us in so many ways. So this is just a podcast basically to unpack and to reflect, looking at our history, diving deep, to unpack everything. But as always, everything starts with self, and that's where I'm starting from. So in an attempt to do that, I chose to look at love. I'm choosing to analyze everything from a place of understanding love, because I figured that our creator, we are an extension of source. There's no if, but, or maybe about that. And if I can understand the true characteristics of love, which is our creator, and knowing that we are an extension of that love, of him or her, of that frequency, then I can understand our true nature. And from there, we can perhaps understand where things went wrong and how we got to where we are now. But you have to start from somewhere, and there's nothing greater than love. There's no greater frequency. You can't get any higher than that, and it's from that frequency, from that love, from that place of that frequency, that vibration in which we are created, in which life is created. And we aren't reflecting that as a society and as beings. We're not reflecting that. So obviously something went wrong. Thar, Thar, hi, welcome to the stream. Yeah, I'm here. You're in Trovo. I have to make sure that I pay attention to the chat. I am so sorry if I ignored you. That was not intentional. I'm still working out the kinks. I'm still getting used to everything. So, yeah. Sounds fine? Great. I do appreciate you telling me that, because I have no idea how I sound, or, But yeah. The hope is that, viewers like yourself will find value in the podcast. It is meant for everyone, because it takes a look at our society and it helps you to take a look at yourself internally and where we are. But I understand also if this podcast isn't for everyone, because not everyone will feel that they can resonate with the information that I have to present. So yeah, I'm hoping to find my tribe. Is basically what I'm saying. You have no idea how to pronounce your name. Like, is that your real name, or is that your alias? As I know, a lot of people on social media and on the internet, they have the names that they associate themselves with, but it's not their real names. I learned an Indian dessert is named the same, and that I can certainly not pronounce. Okay. Well, if you can't pronounce your own name, how do you expect me to pronounce it? But I don't like messing up people's names, but you know, I'll take comfort in the fact that not even you can pronounce it, but I will try my best regardless. But yeah. So, um, ooh, okay, here we go. All right. So one of the key factors why I think each generation is getting worse. I mean, even my best friend and I, growing up, we used to talk about it. How we recognize that each generation, or values or standards keep getting downgraded. You know, it keeps getting worse in a way, and okay, short from an older alias, yeah. Yeah. So, you know, recognize that with each generation it keeps getting worse and worse. And I'm like, why is that? You know, instead of just talking about it to my friend, I wanted to take a deeper look at it. And I figured a lot of it has to do with our history and the belief systems that we have adopted. Because obviously they are not our own, you know. And so I started thinking about the institutions that we are indoctrinated into that help to build our belief systems. And, you know, it made me really think about it. You know, I started looking at the whole money system. Like, I wanted to understand the whole concept of it, because I mean, this is something that basically has been used to rule us. It is something that um it's something that you can't do without. You can't buy or sell. You can't. Basically, I started looking at it from this perspective that we are the only species on this planet that has to live in debt or pay for the things that our Almighty or Source or Creator has given to us freely. And like, the more I thought about it, the more it troubled me. And I'm like, it doesn't make sense, you know. And I started looking at things like that, or even the schools, the what's being taught. A lot of the things that are taught in schools doesn't even really prepare you for life. It doesn't even tell you how you're connected to nature or anything like that. Even a lot of the doctors that we entrust our health to aren't even taught about nutrition. They're taught about pharmacology. You know, the whole system of it made me question, because our behavior and what we have been taught about ourselves and about our reality has a lot to do with how our society is right now, how we are as individuals right now. So it made me really think about all of that and wanted to take a closer look or inspection of it, rather than just accept what someone has taught me. I wanted to have a platform where we can think for ourselves and not just accept what we're told in schools or in religion, but look at it with our own eyes, rather than just say, oh, you know, this person told me this is how I should think about it, this is how I should analyze it, this is how I should look at it. I'm like, I don't want to judge based on someone else's own perspective or someone else's ideas. We have our own. We're able to think for ourselves, and oftentimes you'll find that the truth is right in front of you without anybody having to tell you. You think society is more about perception than reality? I would like to agree with you, and I think, yeah, I do. People tend to look more outward than inward. They tend to we tend to materialize everything, prioritize material things, or prioritize seeking validation from someone else or from outside influences, rather than looking internally, even though the answers are right there, I found that when I started questioning certain things, some way, somehow, like the answers were coming at me. And it wasn't from external sources necessarily. But once, yeah. So I'm like, okay. And, as I progressed, I kept getting certain answers. So, yeah, I wanted to just look at it and also talk about things that I have found. It's right there. But I do agree with you. We do tend to perceptualize everything, looking everything at the external. Even in relationships, when it comes to men and women, nowadays it just feels like men versus women, and that's just ridiculous. The top left, picture. Unfortunately, no. It's a picture I saw years ago, and I had saved it for some reason. And when I decided to have this podcast, I found it, and I'm like, this is perfect. Perfect for what it is that I want to do, because the whole inspiration came from me working on myself, and I'm like, it opened up a broader picture, and I was able to recognize that a lot of us don't love ourselves. And when it is that you learn to love yourself, or you decide to actively, on purpose, get into the action of learning to love yourself, looking at yourself from a deeper perspective, a lot of things become clearer to you. It's a journey, but I figured a lot of things become unveiled just by you working on yourself and learning to love yourself from that frequency. And I wanted to do that with my podcast. I was like, okay, you know what? Perhaps there are people who can find value in doing the same thing. Everybody's experiences is different, but coming from that perspective, that platform, that foundation is key, because everything starts with self. You can't progress, you can't heal or do anything unless it is that you work on yourself. Yeah, like, because I'm just reading your comment, because you're saying men versus women, it's about partnership. No, it's all BS bullshit. It's disheartening, and it's discouraging sometimes when I go on social media and the whole men versus women. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Who we are as beings, from the very foundation, at the very core of who we are as beings, we complement each other. Like, women are fighting to be like men, and men are fighting to be like women. Some, not all, right? Not all. But I'm like, you guys, we complement each other. There's no way. It's just like you have a group, right? And you're going to school, high school, university, or whatever, and you're forming a group. Everyone has different roles. There's no one who is dominating over the other person, but everyone plays a role. None is like the other, because each person is different, has different skill sets, and everything that makes them in order to make the whole thing work. And that's us. You can't have men wanting to. Yeah, I don't want to get into that as yet, but I'm just saying, the point I'm trying to make is that we complement each other. Based on how we're created, we complement each other. We're not the same. And it's just a consistent friction with society, and it feels very distorted. Which brings me back as to why I really wanted to look at our belief systems, looking at who we are. And what I found what I came to the conclusion is that we, at our core, as beings on this planet, we are love. But I'll go into that. I'll dive deeper into that. Yeah, yeah, we complement each other. We're not the same. All right. So, so to get started, I want to play a video before I get into what the meat of the matter, because that was just a basic intro, a basic, but still working out the kinks. Still working out the kinks. All right, so I want to play this little video just before I get into the meat of the matter. So give me a minute.
A universal truth is love. I think love is something everybody can relate to. I think love is something that as humans we are here to feel in this lifetime. I believe love is the one thing that travels through different lifetimes. People may not remember everything you did for them, but they'll remember how you made them feel. That you take from them. That's connection. That's truth. So in that process, really understanding that if we know love is a universal truth, and we know love is something that we all relate to, why don't we do more of it? Why don't we live in love? Why don't we practice love? Why don't we embrace love? And if love wasn't something that we grew up with, why don't we seek it? Why don't we try to understand it? Why don't we open ourselves up? A lot of this is easier said than done. A lot of it is going inside and feeling certain pain, but it's living in that love. When you hear music, when you watch movies, you see yourself in those characters. You see yourself in that musician, in those lyrics. That's what you connect to. And that connection is literally just being human. A universal truth is love. I think love is something everybody can relate to. I think love is something that as humans we are here to feel in this lifetime. I believe love is the one thing that travels through different lifetimes. People may not remember everything you did for them, but they'll remember how you made them feel. That you take.
Okay, so when I found this video, and I had it with me for a while, and I didn't buck up on it until yesterday. Until yesterday, because I'm like, I want to find a video that speaks exactly to what it is that I want, and somehow I found it yesterday. Of the weeks I've been looking, I've been thinking, I'm like, I don't know what I will find, but I found this yesterday, and I had it with me all this time, but this video spoke so much to me that racism today is coming from people who have no relation to any of it. Yeah, really, racism is a taught behavior. Racism is a taught behavior. There's nothing about that that's natural. But I will get into that because trust me, I'm going to touch on everything, because everything is connected. But that in itself is a learned behavior. Because at the end of it, really all of us are one. We're one people. We're all connected. It doesn't matter about your complexion, about the money you have, about your class. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. And when you look at everything and understand the bigger picture, it's like racism, classism, all those things that it seems petty. I understand the history we've had, don't get me wrong. I do understand the hurt behind everything that we've experienced as a people in the past. But trust and believe, when you understand the bigger picture as to what is happening on this planet, what is happening to us as human beings, everything else really seems petty. Really seems petty. That feels like the perfect word to describe it, petty. But as I said, I want to really dive deep into this. This is not a one-time podcast. This is something that I really want to have every Tuesday at 9 o'clock. I started late. I started at 9:30, but yeah, every Tuesday at 9 o'clock. Because what I have to say does not cover for one podcast. As I said before, if you want to find some of my information, you can find me on TikTok, Love Manifest Truth, on TikTok. As I say, not everything that I wanted to say, that I've been wanting to say, I can't hold it in one post on TikTok. So me having the podcast here on Tuesdays is my chance to expound on what it is that I want to say. So yeah, a lot of things are distractions. Wait, hold on. Post before was my question. I'm pretty certain that, yeah. Ask my stupid question. Wait, would you call yourself black or Afro-American or a highly pigmented person, or have no for a clue what's politically appropriate today? I hate whatever people consider to be politically appropriate. Because okay, as I said before, I do understand the history about it, about how we end up calling each other white or Caucasian or Indian or whatever. I'm like, to me, the truth is there is no such thing as race. That is something else that was created. I don't remember the name of the person that I heard who created it, and I needed to look it up. I couldn't remember the name of the person, but that's something that I will definitely have to look into, and I'll come back to it on probably next week's podcast. But yeah, that in itself is something that was created, because think about it, if we are actually one, we are at its core, we are an extension of our source. It's not like, say, oh, the white man, who we call white, have a different source, or he came from a different source of creator from the black man or the Indian man. I'm like, that's ridiculous. All of us are one. All of us. That's why I say, irrespective of our history, irrespective of our complexion, irrespective of anything that you can think of that we have used to separate ourselves, regardless of our history, at its very core, we are all an extension of our source. So to say that I'm going to call myself black, white, Indian, or whatever, I'm like, I'm a human being. I'm a being, first off, inhabiting this body. It's my body, yeah, but I don't see myself as as just this body. If I'm an extension of source, of the creator, I'm not separate and apart. It's just like you'll see it. Wait, what are you saying? I'm pretty certain that racism today is coming from people who, yeah, I read that already. Post before, a lot of, oh, you're from Germany. Cool. I don't have flying fart about how someone looks, and we have the most popular genealogy history. Yeah, I don't care how people look, because yeah, I totally agree with you. Because I'm like, you are not your body, so to speak. This may sound a little bit crazy, but I like to look at it as, this is our spacesuit. I'm not speaking literally, but yeah, I look at this as our spacesuit, because who you are, the person looking through your eyes, you're not just physical, you're spiritual. You are a being. You can't separate that consciousness. When it is you're sleeping, when the body is resting, you are still playing, you are still, your consciousness, you is still going. When it is that you die, when the body dies, it's not to say that it's ways. I don't even want to go there. Let me use a different example. But yeah, basically, I don't believe that we are our bodies. You know, you are a person is more than just that. One of the things I used to say when I was younger is, you know, when it is I'm with someone or I'm married that person, I don't want to look at them for their looks, because that will always, you know, go away. That you know, whatever it is, that physical physique, that's je ne sais quoi that you were attracted to on the outside. What's gonna be left when all those pretty good features gone, when all the material things are gone, the person doesn't have as much money as they used to? What are you left with? The person, their character, that person, that being that's looking through those eyes. That is what is left. That is what truly matters, not the external. And I feel like in today's society, people focus way too much on the external. What I value is the person, that being. You know, you can't ignore that. Yeah, they say I'm not exactly wrong calling a spacesuit. No, I'm not. I'm really not. Another way to look at it, us as beings, like even thinking about how we are born, I like to look at women or our bodies are the stargate that brings in the spiritual into the physical. It is, the womb is where you have life creating that fuses together the spiritual, us as beings, into this body. You know, it's a beautiful process, beautiful, and you can see that very same action being what's the word? You can see it unfolding or being copied throughout everything in our creation, with Mother Nature, everything that comes into being, the plants, trees, everything that is birthed into our reality on this planet. You will see that same action being rippled, being copied throughout everything. And that to me is a clear indication that it's no different with us and our creator or source. Everything copies each other, everything in nature. I don't know how else to put it, but even with that, you can, even from that perspective, you can see we are all one. And it's no different with us and our source. If we are an extension, just like you are an extension of your parents, you are birthed from your mother, you came through that stargate. I believe it's no different with us and our source, our creator. And I figured if we understood who our creator is, and of course it has to be love. There's no other higher creation. You can't create or manifest great things from a place of fear and anger. And the highest frequency is love. And if I can understand the characteristics of love, I can understand the characteristics of my creator. Therefore, I can also understand my true characteristic, my true self. And obviously something else has influenced us to be what we are not. Because when you look at the self-sabotaging beliefs that we tell ourselves, with the ego, listening to our ego consistently, when you look at everything that's happening with our actions, everything, it doesn't reflect the characteristics of love. But I will dive deep into that. But yeah, it just makes sense. So if I call black people black, black only white, will this separates is bonkers. Nah, that's not what I meant. Oh, you sent me a link? Okay. Yeah, but to answer your first question, yeah, I don't. I guess I do for arguments, for debating or argument's sake. If I'm having a discussion with somebody, I will say black. But even saying it feels wrong because I know I'm more. So even saying that feels wrong. I'm playing the video you sent me a while ago. I saw this on TikTok. Our solar system. It's a different perspective. You get to see it from a different perspective, or think of it from a different perspective. And this is how it really is. And I do believe that it is like this for a reason. I mean, I can choose not to believe it, but there's a reason why I believe that this video that you sent me is accurate. I have my own theory or belief. Because I've recognized that, I feel like I keep diverting, even though everything that we're talking about is connected. I feel like I keep diverting from what is that I really wanted to talk about tonight. But it's all connected, so it's still within the same scope. But yeah, this planet right now is actually evolving. We as beings are supposed to evolve with it. But obviously something has gone wrong, and anything that stays stagnant and it isn't evolving, it festers, it rots. And yeah, we can see, or the whole system that we live in right now on this planet is crashing, it's crumbling, especially with the whole financial system. I will be touching on these things. But yeah, we are there's a trajectory that we're supposed to be on, that we are on right now, and I will get into this. I will dive deep into this. Trust me, all that I have to talk about is connected, even to the video that you just sent me. But I wanted to take it piece by piece and just let everything unfold. But trust me, you and I are thinking on the same wavelength. If you really sent me, since I know that you sent me this video, because it connects to what it is that I'm talking about, and everything that's been happening on this planet, both from a physical perspective and a spiritual perspective. And that's why I said that when even if you're gonna look at if you're gonna really ask me about the whole black and white thing and the whole separation, trust me, when it, as I said before, when it is that you're able to view everything that's been happening on this planet happening with us as beings at our core, you will recognize that the whole racism, everything, it's meaningless. Because if there's something that is more, that has more value, that is more at stake than to think about everything that's separating us. I will dive into the things that we have used to separate ourselves, but it's, as I said, it's all connected to the greater perspective of things. I'd like to eventually have my audience view things from a universal perspective, from a cosmic perspective, because we are more than just the physical, you know. I'm gonna be touching on everything, both in the physical and the spiritual realm, to understand and have a bigger understanding as to what is truly happening with us and why our society is the way it is, and why we are as we are as individuals right now. Racism is harmless today. Sexism seems to be the real danger. Yes, I will agree with you on that. I will agree with you on that. Yeah, so that really is a huge issue right now, sexism. And as a society, we don't realize how that affects our reality. Men and women are yin and yang. As I said before, my youth, you're making me divert, man. I'm going to touch on it. I'm fucking afraid of one woman claiming bullshit as her word will be taken as fact and mine ignored. Yeah, there's the whole back and forth with men and women fighting each other. And her life would destroy my entire life. We're not saying that racism is hidden right now. I mean, it's very much alive and kicking. Don't get me wrong, Paco. But what is theming right now? At the top of the pyramid, at the top of everything that's been happening, is sexism, male and female, the whole friction between the two. And, you know, as I said before, we don't recognize home. You remember I said before, Thar, that we complement each other. It's our whole existence and who we are, or reality and who we are are designed to be complementary. And when it is that you have yin and yang, you have the masculine and feminine energies who are supposed to be supporting each other and playing their role in the whole cosmic sphere. When it is that you have those two energies fighting, and you know, there's a them versus them, or you know, kind of thing going on. There's a lot of horizontal hostility going on between the two. It distorts reality, which is exactly what is happening right now. Because if it is at the very core of our existence, of our true reality, we are in discord, disorder. It shifts a lot of things about our reality and who we are. It actually distorts everything and sets it on a path of destruction. Any lie, the end result of it is always death. It's always on a path of destruction. And we are on that path right now as beings. When it is that you have love, the love frequency not being what it is, you are disconnecting from source, because our source will never be what it's not, which is like, it's love. It's not fear, it's not anger, it's not that dense frequency. It is on a higher frequency. So if it is that us as beings being being an extension of our source, if it is that we are in discord, because remember, love, one of the characteristics of love is peace. It's not confusion. You have focus. You have what it's supposed to be, you know. You have order. If you have something that's in discourse from what it truly is you're separating yourself from source, which can only lead to death. And our society is on that path, unfortunately. Categorized as treating racism is categorized as treating people differently because of, well, race, and here it seems they are just treated better than native citizens. Yeah, racism is one of the things we have used to separate ourselves throughout history. And it wasn't always like this. Amy, you don't know what love feels like. We all do. Even if it's from the state of a child, we all know what that is. I feel like what has happened is there's a lot of trauma, a lot of hurt that has been passed down to us, and we keep doing it, passing on that trauma to our children and our society in so many ways that we don't even recognize. And it's like, it's not to say that you don't know what love is or what it feels like, but when it is that trauma, you've experienced that trauma on a consistent basis, or any form of hurt, that denseness, that when it that is has been your focus for so long, yeah, you can feel like you do not know what love is, because you have not felt, you felt more hurt than you have with that. Opening up the door for women is considered as positive sexism. Oh, yeah, get into the whole politics of it. I guess, yeah. It's the man courting the lady, or courting the woman, opening up the door for her, pulling out her seats. Common gestures. There's a word for it. I did a class in it. You know, what men are supposed to do versus what women are supposed to do. Like, who made those rules? Not to say that, you know, it's wrong. I'm not saying that. But a lot of the things that we're taught in society is not our own. Somebody made it up and decided to put it in the school system and said, this is the kind of citizens that I want to create. But a lot of what we're taught is not, and a lot of the beliefs that we have about ourselves and about our true reality is false. It's somebody else's ideas, someone else's thoughts or intentions that has been cast on society for how many years. But it's not our own. And a lot of us don't question what is in the books. Yeah, I'm just saying that because of what you said about the whole, you know, positive sexism, male positive sexism or whatever. A lot of the titles that we have, like, they're all made up in one way or the other. Not to say that it doesn't have meaning, you know, but a lot of the things that we're taught, you know, how to behave, what to do, what is considered to be the norm, or what is considered to be positive sexism, or normal behavior. It's something that has been indoctrinated into us. It's not something that is our true nature. What you should question is who made that up. That is true. Nobody, because I don't care. If a guy opened the door for me or not, I really don't care. I got two hands. Two. Thank God. He made me with two hands. I can open the door myself. And I'm not gonna scrutinize and say, oh, he's not a good man. He didn't open the door for me. I'm like, what? A lot of the things that females romanticize about is what they see on TV. It's not real. It really isn't real. I'm gonna use an example. I remember seeing in a movie. I don't know which movie when I was younger, and the guy says, I think the father was talking to his son, and he was saying, oh, a good way to tell if she's a good woman is that she'll open the car door for him, for the guy. So he would test out the girl, and his car wasn't 100% functional, and he would let in the girl, open the door for her, and then he would have to go around to open his car door, and he would always test her to see if she was a good woman, if she opened the door for him once she was inside. And I'm like, I remember going out with a guy, and I did it because I remembered about the movie. And he knew about the movie, and when I did it, he brought up the movie, and I was like, we watched the same movie. But the truth is, none of that doesn't make sense. That's the honest God truth. I understood the whole premise behind it. The person being generous or courteous or whatever word you want to use. But the truth is, it really don't matter. Yes, when it is that you're looking for someone who you want to be with, you look at their characteristics. That's what you really should look at, who they are as a person. But some of the things that we value in society and look at, it really don't matter. And we judge way too harshly, not just on other people but ourselves. But they make it hard to have a relationship in these days. Seriously. So, courtesy. Yeah, thank you, Paco. Thank you. Be courteous. Stuff just went too far. Yeah. It's like, I agree with you, Thar. It's like they went too far with it, because it feels like, yes, you look for good, whatever morals or standards, whatever it is that you value in that person. It's like you start off with how it is, but then it feels like they have exaggerated things and took it way out of proportion. That's why I say a lot of the things that we believe, a lot of the things that's been going on is distorted from how things truly are supposed to be, or how things truly are. Full stop. But yeah, I agree with you. They have taken things way too far. Yeah, nothing wrong with holding the door for a person, common courtesy. Yeah, nothing's wrong with that. And yeah, there's certain, I ain't gonna lie, sometimes like a person will look at things like that. I'm like, you know what? It makes you take notice of the person. But to curse somebody because they aren't as courteous, or I don't know. I just feel like we've reached a point in society where we judge each other harshly for the most pettiest of things, and for a lot of the females especially, we look at the most pettiest of things. It's kind of like we are looking at a ant hill and thinking it's a mountain. You're looking at the small things about a guy that may not be on your list, let's say, and it's something that's so small. You could, because of your pettiness, and looking at and making a ant hill, making a mountain out of an ant hill, you miss out on a great opportunity of being with a really great guy, or finding your soulmate, finding that person who you can truly love and appreciate, because you had to follow a list, because something that's so small, you had to make it into this huge thing in your head, when what you were making so much of a big deal out of, you missed out on a great opportunity of accepting love, of welcoming love into your life. It don't make sense. It does not make sense. Females romanticize about what they would have with their 3 to 8 friend zone guy. Yeah, that's true, and I can agree with you on that, because I was one of them. You know, but you grew up. When it is people do that, they create a very unhappy environment for themselves. They create a very unhappy life for themselves. Can you imagine women who consistently romanticize and do all of that? You end up being alone. You end up being alone for a very long time and going through a lot of hurt. We create our own happiness. Trust and believe that. But we also create our own traumatic experiences. Or our own hurt. Because a lot of the times the signs are right there, the writing's on the wall, but that's why I say it's important to know yourself and to love yourself, to work on yourself, so that when you encounter certain situations, you're better able to look at things from a discerning eye rather than just going with the flow or with just your feelings. You're able to think not just with your heart, but with your head as well. So, yeah, all of this I'm getting into it. After the 50 men wouldn't want them anyway. 15, except they are desperate. And yeah, lots of females create their own unhappiness, that is for sure. I'm very indecisive. Listen, I can agree with this because I am coming from there. Okay, I used to say this to my dad, that sometimes I'm kind of sorry for the guys that they have to deal with some of us females, because sometimes like I'll be like a fly on the wall and take notice of certain things, even with myself, because I know I can be difficult sometimes. But I used to say to my dad that I feel sorry for some of us, for some of you guys, that you have to deal with females because they're very indecisive about what it is that they want, and we can be very complicated. We don't necessarily think with our minds, but we think consistently with our hearts, with that emotion. But in order to make wise decisions, you have to use both. A man is you would say more logical, but at the same time, as I said before, you can't have the brain alone and not have the heart included when it is that you're making decisions. We are whole. I'm just gonna leave it at this, at that part. the point I'm trying to make is that we're complementary. As individuals, we are supposed to think both logically and emotionally, think from both the heart and the mind working together in unison. But yeah, so we're not two halves making one whole. We are naturally, we are whole working in conjunction with someone else who is whole, but yeah, you have to have that both mind and heart unison to make it work. Girls cost the family, so the essentials sold them out, so the daughters were taken care of in new family, while the sons were taken into the field slave away, and didn't care for skin. No, that when it comes to that, they don't care about skin. A lot of the times in society, or even throughout history, men are the ones who get the sour end of the stick. I feel like what has happened in our society, because remember I was saying that as men and women, we all have our role to play, being the masculine and the feminine, right? But what I think what has happened in society is that females have been bashing their protectors, because that's one of the role as the man, being the protector, a provider, y'all have so many titles, as natural beings, as the masculine energy, as the but if it is that you have the feminine energy, females who are bashing and feminizing, demasculizing their protectors, it's kind of like you have a house, you have a structure, and each wall, each part of the structure it plays its own role to make the entire thing functional. When it is that you bring down your defense system, let's think about war or Star Wars, you bring down your defense system, you leave yourself vulnerable. And when it is that you leave yourself vulnerable, you leave your enemy to now come after you, since you have no defense system to protect you or to support you or do what it's supposed to do. And once it is that you bring that down, now it's time to destroy you. And once the woman is destroyed, you're left with the children, because then you can't forget that the children has that defense system, which is mommy and daddy. Everything that we're doing as beings, as the masculine and feminine energy, as cosmic beings, as man and woman, we are affecting everything that's happening with the younger generation. And you're thinking how we're affecting the younger generation affects how the next society is going to be. So if you're setting them on a path of confusion, of fighting and bickering against each other, what existence do you think that or us as human beings will have? We won't have a future. Full stop. We're not going to have a future if this is the path that we continue on. And I don't think people realize how important that is. That's why I say it's important to know who we are. The picture, I'm trying to get people to look at the bigger picture, because it's more than just about black and white. It is so important to know who we are as beings, because what is manifesting in our society, or actions, and us teaching our children, passing down all of this to our children, is not setting us on a good path. It's not. Once it was women got the man and had to stick with him. Girls cost the family, so they essentially sold them all. Yeah, I read this one already. It's half the reason why the family essentially paid the man who took their daughter. Yeah, I remember that used to happen. Who pay, because that happened in African families and Indian families, and I'm separating again, but for argument's sake, yes. In the different cultures, even though we're one culture, but yeah. But yeah, the men would have to pay to marry the woman, whether with money or how many calves you had, you know, how much livestock you had, or whatever the case is. But it went for over thousands of years that way. That's true. Third, don't worry about the misspelling. Come on, as long as I understand what you're saying, you don't have to worry about that, so that's fine. Okay, you're saying a lot, and I'm here blabbering, and you're saying a lot, and I'm just missing out. Hold on. Pragmatism. In the medieval ages, they already knew men could lift more. Yeah. Work more, accomplish more. Yeah. As I said, men have their role in life. The way, based on how we are designed by our source. Like, a woman cannot lift the same things a man can lift. Like, his strength, how males are built, how you think, you know, like, just you biologically and who you are. Like, you have your role. Men's role in society it is important. Men are important. No man should ever feel like he's less than. You know, people in society, men or women, honestly, we don't recognize or value our worth. We really don't. And yeah, on this podcast, yeah, I'm highlighting all of that shit. That karmic debts, how you treat other people is a clear reflection of how you treat yourself as well. Believe that. There's a lot of hurt, a lot of trauma that's going around, and it's like everything. How should I put this? The decisions that I make that affect you, me hurting you is also hurting myself. We're all connected. Like, there's so many ways to look at that in terms of how that is possible. When we hurt each other, we also hurt ourselves. And as I said, everything that we say, everything that comes out of our mouth is a reflection of what's happening inside and how we treat ourselves. There is no person, you know, let me be careful what I say, because let me retract what I was about to say. But yeah. Man, completely different from a female. A physical test to become. Oh, you're an officer? Cool. And I'm sure the physical test for both male and female when you're to become an officer was different on certain levels. No, you have some very strong females out there. I do agree with you on that. Yeah, men and women are not the same. They are not equal. They were never meant to be. You're damn right about that. We were never designed to be the same. But one complements the other, yeah. Try to become a military officer. Yeah, I'm catching up with your with your typing. I need to bring the chat over here in my peripheral vision. I'm sorry. Listen, this is my first time. I will get used to this, and I'll understand the whole dynamics of, so I can communicate with you better. So bear with me. Bear with me. I had everything written out of what it is I wanted to say. And it's like on a different note, right? I had in my mind what I wanted to say, but I know sometimes I have a bit of a problem getting out what it is that I want to say or make the point that I want to make. So I took the time and I wrote out what it is that I want to say. And I'm like, but I'm having a podcast. I actually want to talk to you like I'm talking to a friend. I would like to have some form of structure in terms of exactly what it is that I'm talking about. But I want to be able to talk to my audience, not like I'm some school teacher, but rather like I'm talking to a friend and I'm reasoning out certain things with a friend. So that is the experience that I would want to have with my audience, with you guys, on this podcast. Because being a school teacher is so boring sometimes. Most times. That lecturer kind of voice. It's a lot better when things are authentic. About 40 to 65% of what men had to do for females. Okay. I want to go officer and not petty officer or whatever is in English. What do you mean petty officer? Oh, you couldn't be bothered. Okay. I would ask why specifically. Gracie lets me go. Also because they lack people. But if they lack people, they could have offered me a good spot. Yeah, that's true. They could have offered you a good spot. But I think that's cool. You have a passion for being an officer. Well, they definitely valued you, but sorry it didn't work out. I mean, obviously, you exercise certain skill sets that are like, yeah, this is the kind of guy that I'd want, to put in that kind of position. You hate the military? Okay, so why you wanted to be in the military then? What is it that attracted you into that area in the first place? But yeah. I want to be able to play some music here. The military universities are among the best in the country. It's paid well, and wasn't really any risk of war. No. Here's my thing. Okay, you said there wasn't any risk of war, but at any time something could break out. I'm just saying, at any point, because I mean that's the whole purpose of the military. So you know, based on what's happening with Russia and Ukraine, I mean, and everything that's going on, I mean, who knows? There could be a third World War III. Actually, there is a third World War III going on, but it's more on a economic scale, from a financial scale, a spiritual scale. Anyway, but my point is like, okay. You say I avoid that shit since 1944? Yeah. But still, I'm just saying. You never know what tomorrow might hold. And oftentimes history repeats itself. Or at least it rhymes. Yeah, it rhymes a lot. So you never know. It's even in your constitution? Oh, for real? Huh? What do you mean it's in your constitution? What, to avoid war? To get involved? Okay. Was it 1944? Oh, that was 1940. Yeah, it was 1944 when Nixon declared, when we started the whole fiat currency. Sorry, you said 1944, and in my mind I'm like, okay, what happened in 1944 in the with money? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's when we had the fiat currency, or whole money system changed. Can't start a war. Okay, you don't have to start the war, but if there's a world war going on and you're for whatever reason you're asked to, well, okay, all right, fine, you know what? So okay, fine. Let's say that you guys will never have an outbreak or have to get involved in war. Why do y'all have a military? To police the people. Because but even for Jamaica, because where I am is in Jamaica. Nobody's attacking Jamaica. But yeah, we have the military. I always said military is not to defend us from anybody else. It's to police the people. From the people who rule our land. But it's not to protect us. So America willing to. Russia beat us. America just extended the war. Yeah, America extended the war. They were making money off of the war. They weren't. What was it? They supported the war. They financed the war. So of course America didn't mind extending the war. That's how they became a superpower. We can't just declare war. We are way better on selling shells and prosthetics. You meant to say? Yeah, prosthetics. You mean selling shells and prosthetics? Okay? But I'm not saying that you would start the war. I'm just thinking, for whatever reason, you're pulled into it. But okay, I'll take your word for it. I'll take your word for it. By the grace of the Almighty, you guys will never ever encounter any form of war ever again. Neither internally or externally. I want to come to Germany. We earn on disabling and enabling. We are pulled into it. We didn't start it. You didn't start the fire. No, but because I want another Germany in war. No, 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 no. I don't want any war at all. Especially with the whole war with you women and women. They went a bit overboard. Trust me, you don't know how overboard they are. Question to you, Thar. Do you think that war is needed in the first place? Do you think it has to happen? And why? Excluding genocides. Why do you think it's needed in general? Everybody is fighting to be heard or feel like they have to fight for their rights to be heard or to be given the things that is rightfully theirs and their freedom to do so, to take it. Yeah, but all right. You know, one of the things I realized when it is that we have war, when you have world leaders or, you know, governments deciding that they want to go to war for whatever reason, it's not the government bodies that really suffer, it's the people, the citizens. And they're not the ones who are deciding to go to war. I understand you fight for country and all these things, you know, fight for your rights and so forth, but I feel like we don't need to be against each other. A lot of world leaders profit off of war, and it's the citizens who suffer. America is a good example of that, among other things. You're talking in general. People feel that they're not being heard. So even on, you're saying a lot of people will fight because they feel like they're not being heard. Even looking at it from a micro perspective, that's what happens. That's why you'll have people fighting with each other, and it's no different from being on a macro level or a macro scale. Come looking at it from a macro scale. It goes right back to history and stuff for people looking at that. Why people are so divided, so separated. I hope what I'm smelling isn't gas, you know. Hold on, let me make sure that the stove is turned off. I don't know, I'm smelling something and I'm not quite sure what it is. Give me a minute. Sorry about that. Okay, we're in the clear, but I don't know, probably smiled over matter. Everybody wants to be heard. Alright? Okay, I'm thinking about that. Alright. Everybody wants to be heard. Everybody talking at once, causing confusion. No one's listening to anybody. You're getting nowhere. And you're right, rightfully so. You can't find peace. You can't find any form of resolution when there's confusion. Everybody wants to be heard. No one's listening. The people are crying out. Citizens are suffering. Their needs aren't being met in any way, shape, or form on the Maslow's hierarchy of social needs. Everybody wants to be heard, but no one's listening. For what our governments have done for us, to us, the people who we vote in power, especially in Jamaica, I can honestly cannot say that our well-being or standard of living has really been better, or is where it should be. Our governments operate from a place of greed, not from a place of love, or a place or from the standpoint of someone who has their country's or their people's best interest at heart. When it's just using Jamaica as an example, right, where they sell off everything to the highest bidder to any other country, where our people we're not taught anything about our true selves. The only thing I see evolving is technology, and that does not mean us as people mentally and physically that we are growing or better off. People will say we're going places as a country, because of what, you know, the organizations or corporations that are involved, or the institutions, or the corporations or businesses, government entities that run these institutions. But us as a people, we are not better off. They are getting their pockets fatter, but their actions towards the people who vote them in does not come from a place of people who care about the people, who have their own best interest at heart. Everything is for profit. That's one of the reasons why I can never see myself voting, because to me it's two sides of the same coin. And the government bodies or entities are not divided. They really aren't. And it's the people who are suffering. The people who vote them in are crying out. The people who vote them in. That's why I say even voting to me is an illusion. I use this as an example. You as a parent, your child wants to wear this pretty blue, bright pink thing, something that you don't like because it's not appropriate for where you're going. So you say, okay, I want to give you the illusion of choice. I'm going to set up 2 sets of clothes, or even 3, throw in a third one, to say, okay, you know, you get to choose which one of these you get to wear. Like, oh, which one? Like, but you're not choosing the one you're not getting to wear the one you really want to wear. You're choosing whatever your parent wants you to wear, giving you the illusion that you have a choice, but it's not your choice. And that's how I view government bodies and the whole voting thing. I'm like, it's two sides of the same coin, working towards the same agenda, going towards the same goal, and it's not to benefit you, the citizens. You know, it's an illusion of choice, when really, in fact, you do not have a choice, you know. But there are customers to get more money, thereby they earn money. A plumber serves a customer and gets paid by him, and carpenter gets paid for building a table or whatever and gets paid for it. So what is a politician paid for? To fool the people. That's what he's paid for, and he's paid handsomely for it. Same thing with the pastors and the preachers. You ever realize, even with, let's look at the people in society who are paid handsomely and what it is that they do, right? So you have the politician, he's there to fool the people, right? He says he's a soothsayer, as I like to put it. You know what your audience wants. You know what your audience wants to hear, so we can be in their good favor. So you say what it is that they want to say. Trump even used I can use Trump as an example. He said out of his own mouth that when he was running for president, like, he was talking to a group. I think it was some Texans, or I don't remember, because he was on a campaign and he was speaking to a specific group, and he knew that most of the people in the group, they wanted something about to clear the swamp or something like that. And he was telling them that, you know, he thought that was a stupid idea, but the people who were advising him, his advisors, were saying, you know what, you know, this is what they want to hear, this is what they're for, you want to get the votes of the people. And he was like, but that's a stupid idea. And he's like, just say that. So he would preach it, you know, that, oh yeah, he's in favor of this. And, you know, even I think coal, the starting to reuse coal as on a source or whatever. Yeah, he was like, yeah, he started to sell the idea that this is what he stood for, this is what he believed, and this is what he would do. And he was like, people bought it, and he was like, I said it so often that at one point I was starting to believe it myself, but I was like, no, that's a stupid idea. I'm like, yeah, he's there to fool the people, but it's to vote. You're not voting. You don't have a choice. It's two sides of the same coin. It's on the same path, on the same agenda. So it's the same thing. Same thing with the let's say basketball players. They are paid handsomely, and politician is paid handsomely for what he does, right? He's paid handsomely for what he does. You have basketball players and entertainers who are paid handsomely as well in society, and they're there to distract the people, you know. Keep them entertained, bread and circus, just like in Rome when you'd have the gladiators and so forth. The emperor will always want to distract the people so they don't realize what's really happening. So, you know, hey, look over here, you know. And of course those entertainers are always paid handsomely because you are doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, you know, distracting the people from what's really going on. You have doctors, let's see, who are also paid very handsomely in society. But I realized the other day that a lot of doctors are not really taught about nutrition, and I'm like, that's crazy. That does not make any sense. Like, they're not taught about nutrition for a lot of them, but they're taught about pharmacology. You know, you talk about, you know, all those drugs and like, you keep the people sick with the food, the processed foods and all the chemicals that you're using, but not feeding them the nutrients that they need. I'm like, why aren't people talking about this? I mean, why isn't it an uproar? Because it contributes to our survival as people in the as human beings on this planet. Because it goes right back to how we are designed, you know. But we're being poisoned every day, and we're addicted to that poison. But again, the doctors are paid handsomely, you know. I'm just there to feed you these medications that have all these side effects that really are killing you slowly, and I'm not encouraging you to actually eat the things that are meant to help with your survival, that actually make you live longer, because the medicine is in the food that's already created by our Almighty or Source. So you're not promoting that, but you're promoting all these other things that are slowly killing you. So it's not really about health. But again, the doctors are paid handsomely for it. Female doctors might fail a treatment and get a surprise visit from the Inquisition. But I'm still in historical. Okay, so it wouldn't be the same thing for a male doctor if he misdiagnosed. I think that's what you're saying. Yeah, it was Rome I was talking about. Bread and circus. The politicians do in essence is achieve a regulation the payers want, and it's usually to institutional that you can't even do much you really want before you get exchanged. I said, oh well, government workers out here get paid very shittily in comparison to people in private sectors. I don't know about that, but that's what they say. And you will hear a lot of government workers talk about it as well, that they're not paid enough, especially with police. but the money is basically, it's like the carrot on the stick and we're the donkeys. So yeah, it's not a surprise that government workers don't get paid well. Sorry, I was reading a message that you said, something you typed. I was responding to that. So witches were female usually. Yeah, you have females who are witches and the males are warlocks, but I guess society is more familiarized with the word witches in nowadays. Witches. Alchemy. People who deal with alchemy, I guess, are considered to be witches. And it's, I think it goes hand in hand with who we are. A lot of that. And people just decide to use that word that you're a witch. But people don't understand who they are. They don't understand the true nature of our reality. So we are quick to downplay, or what's the word? We're quick to criticize things that we don't understand, or think of it as something evil or bad. When we don't understand ourselves, we don't understand the true nature of our reality. We don't understand that spiritual side of us, because we keep forgetting that we're not just physical. We are also spiritual, and we don't understand that side of us. The Inquisition. Is that Jamaica seems kind of shit fucked up rather. With what are you making reference to? Or wait, how our society is? How in what aspect are you saying that Jamaica is fucked up? I was trying to understand from, what perspective are you looking at? I mean, I'm sure we have our shitty side. I just want to know which side you're looking at it from. Whoa, okay. In regards to witches and warlocks, I pulled this out of my ass right now. But I think it was just easier to get rid of a female at that time. Yeah, you're onto something, Thar. You're onto something. It was easier to get rid of a female that time. A male might own a business, might have loans, might be a spender in a church, might be popular, while females were more recluse, as taking care of the family wasn't that prominent. What evil word are you speaking of? But yeah. Huh. Oh. Yeah, I see. in the statement that you made. I said ass. I don't know if that's what you meant, if that's what you really intended to say, but that's what I put there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Why is that an evil word though? The other day I was thinking to myself, what we classify as bad words or evil words, why are they evil? What's the history behind it? What's the reasoning behind it, why it's evil or bad? I know words have meaning. Words are, or letters are symbols, and symbols always have meaning behind them. Especially the combination of certain symbols. All sucking sacks. What? What? Oh. What is that? Is that where it came from? That association? Yeah, words have history and meaning. And people don't, like, I started looking into certain words and I realized, like, even the English language I call a bastard language. It's not an original. It's a combination of Greek and Latin. And even though they say, oh, Latin's a dead language, and I'm like, no, we speak it every day. We just don't realize it. You know, we just don't realize it. But yeah, I realized, like, when I says that I would look up certain words and the history of it, or the origin of it, of the word, and what words, like the Latin word for it, or the combination of the Latin and Greek that made that English word, I would look up those meanings and I'm like, okay, I'll have a better understanding of what the word means. You know, what the symbols mean. Yeah, we do bastardize words, and language is forever changing, but it's changing for the worse. We're straying further and further away from the original meanings, or even using words, because right now we have taken up emojis. It's almost like they're trying to kill language. Even censoring us, and the internet is used to do that. And I feel like eventually whatever is on the internet will also be in reality. So they're censoring us. I'm coming off topic, aren't I? But yeah, if they censor us, if they're able to censor us online, they can censor what it is that you think, or how it is that you think about certain things, as well as it will be in reality in our open space where you can't do those things. So you're even more restricted. But these things always start small. They always start small until they get bigger. But yeah, words do have meaning. I am kind of fascinated with words. Like when I'm researching or looking up certain information, and like even certain words that we use on a day-to-day basis, sometimes it comes into my head, I'm like, where that word come from? But yeah, even the word ass, like, why is it a bad word? Why do you consider it to be a bad word? Even the word fuck, why is it considered to be a bad word or a cursed word? What's the history behind it? Why is it considered to be a cursed word? And why do we hear it so much every day? That means we're cursing each other or cursing ourselves. Words have meaning, they have power. I'm just curious as to know sometimes what it is that I'm saying, if I'm cursing myself, if, you know, like, because what we say actually has power to manifest. As who we are as beings, the things that we say have the power to manifest, especially when you fuse your words with your actions. Yeah. So it is so yeah, I'm curious about words and what they truly mean. Feel it over here censored. If I know Greek, no. I wish I knew Latin. If I had to choose, like, let's say download a language right now, I probably would. Yeah, not probably. I definitely, one of the first languages I'd want to learn if I was to, like, at snap of my fingers, learn a language. My first one would be Latin because it's everywhere, and we don't understand it. It's in our English language because, as I said before, the English language to me is a bastard language. It's not an original. It's a combination of other languages put together to create the words that we use, and we don't understand Latin or Greek, you know. So a person can tell you that this word means this when, if you look at the origin of the word, you will have a different perspective of what the word means, you know, and how it will change how you use it, how you use the word. Oh, routed. You say you wouldn't censor words if it weren't powerful. Words are very powerful. What? It said the symbol is just a symbol until it is that you associate a meaning to it. And the original meaning of the word, I feel is what takes precedence. It takes precedence because I've realized over the years a particular word the meaning of it will change with each generation in terms of how they think about it. Or even, let's say, I don't know if you can use this as an example, but you know how people have names, and for example, the word tomato, right? Or mispronouncing a person's name. I usually say the correct pronunciation is dependent on where the word originated from, because because how it is that they pronounce it in their language is different from how another person or of another language would pronounce it. So I always figure, it depends on where it originated from, because of course words sometimes, I feel like I'm getting too deep. I'm gonna cut right there. Yeah, sorry. It's like my thoughts are racing. It's like my thoughts are just racing. Give me a minute. Imagine the most of Greek people can't understand the same language. What? Hold on. Most of Greek people can't understand the same language. We have the original language, which we are using daily, and we also have the language the ancient Greeks using, completely different and unknown for the new generation. Yeah, we keep straying from the original. It's like, I feel like language is getting worse. Like, we keep straying from the original, even with ourselves. But you can see it with language. We're straying. It keeps changing with each generation. And I'm like, at the end of the day, what really matters is not how you want to necessarily how you want to interpret it, but the original meaning of it. They say knowledge is power, right? Right? Knowledge is power. How can you understand the true nature of your reality if you keep changing the meaning of the words from what it means originally? how can you understand the true nature of your reality if you keep changing the knowledge? You keep straying away from it. You're straying away from what it originally means. So you'll never have a true understanding if you keep doing that. As each generation progresses, the words keep changing, the meaning of it. So you're having a different perspective of what the information is. It's not to say that the knowledge isn't there. And I had this theory about the Bible too, I had that theory about the Bible. Because I used to be a Christian. Yeah, I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, I'm not religious anymore. I realized that is something else that I don't want to be a part of. But yeah. I had at some point in my early 20s, I came to the conclusion that perhaps it's not so much that the truth isn't there, but it's how we interpret it is different that I feel is distorted. And us talking about language, about words, it hit home. It hit home to say that, the information is there. Like, it's so much clearer to me. They say the way how to hide something is in plain sight. That's the best way to hide something. And it's true. It's true. But if you have a different interpretation of what the information is saying to you, you will never see it. You will just be left with what someone else has taught you and how to interpret it. And they tell you how to interpret the word in terms of what it means. Like, language is losing, I feel like language is losing its meaning because we're straying away from the original, what the words truly mean. That's interesting about what you said about the Greek people. That's really interesting. I think censoring word empowers it. Censoring word empowers it? I don't understand that. Free speech is a right. Free speech is a birthright. It is a birthright. It's not something that any government thinks they're giving you permission to have. Like, that is our birthright as human beings, as cosmic human beings connected to our Almighty or source. So you do half-ass attempts to prevent something. And give a word power. I feel like, you said you do half-ass attempt to prevent something and give a word power. I'm not exactly I don't think I completely understand that part about the half-assed attempt to prevent something and give the word power. But I realized that how we interpret something, because remember we're saying that words have power, right? And how we interpret something helps us to create or manifest it into reality. How we interpret what it is that we're saying, or even the words, has a lot to do with how we create. Because we create our reality. But a lot of what we create, how we create our reality is by the things that we accept or believe to be true. So even how we interpret the words or understand the word of what we think it is, distorts what it is that we're able to create. Sorry, yeah, that's where when he said it gives a word power, I was like, that's where my mind went. I've been a Christian till 18 years ago. Then I got about 2k euro and left the shit show. It is a shit show. Oh, I think I always felt like that growing up. That being in church was, as you say, is a shit show. I felt it was very fake. Very fake. Has to do with Euros, brother. Hey, hold on. I think I jumped. Okay. Your old was happy about that. Baptism confirmation. Oh, you're 14? Some money from the half the villain town, so I got a shit ton of, oh, okay, of money at the time. Congrats to you for getting when fuck off. Oh, you made me laugh. You made me laugh today. You say you got a shit ton of money and you're like, fuck off, Jesus. Oh gosh. I feel like religion keeps us very restricted. And keeps us from being our true selves. It's one of the things that one of the indoctrinations institutions that help to keep us in line, uniformed in how we behave and what we think, when we're not meant to be the same. Not one of us, whether you're male, female, auntie, uncle, mother, child, we're all different. You're not meant to fit, into a mold. And religion does that. That's one of the many things that religion does, especially Christianity. But I don't want to make this show about a religious this podcast about everything religions. But yeah, good point. Congrats to you. It's the same with, yes. Did you realize with religion, when you look at the history of religion, it's filled with a lot of killing, a lot of murder in the name of religion. I don't think a creator of love would want that. And that's just another point as to why I don't believe in religion. It's something else, but it has nothing to do with the creator. And I proudly say that. I don't care if I've offended you, anybody watching, push. But when you look at the characteristic of love and what the Bible teaches, or any of the books teach about the characteristics of the creator, it doesn't match it doesn't match the characteristic of love. Sorry, not sorry. In 2013 in Greece, 2 trains are crashing one to another. Guys in a country we have much more problems to solve before speech and knowledge of language, to be honest. Salinos. What should I say? I'm looking at how or society has broken down from that perspective. I'm looking at things from a bigger perspective. Oh shit. Thank you for the raid. Hi, everyone from Trovo. Welcome. Not sure if your viewers would be interested in my content, but hey, if you like it, stick around. If you don't, then that's fine. That's fine too. Thanks for the host. Oh, they left, so you're hosting me now. All right. So yeah. So Selenos, I hope I pronounced your name correctly, but yeah, because I understand you're saying that there are bigger things than language, but I'm hoping that you understand the perspective from where I'm coming from. I want to try and find your comments again. You said in 2023 in Greece, 2 trains are crashing. No, that was not the comment. You say in 2023, with all the technology the government has and the masters on those positions, I don't think I understand that. Paying back on boats we graciously included to you buying for the loan. Can't even blame anyone. That's how countries hi. Oh shoot, okay, I just completed level 1. Okay. Yeah, that's Trovo for you. Thank you. Congrats. Yeah, thank you. Space level got level 3. Okay. Oh, thank you, Neko. Thank you. Thank you. Everyone popular in history is a murderer. Really? I don't know about that. Popular in which way? In how there? I'm not sure if that statement's true. That everyone popular in history is a murderer. But yeah. For sure, where religion is concerned, yeah. I don't think any race it has been left unscathed when it comes to having a traumatic history. And it's like we keep passing down that trauma down to each other. So it makes me wonder, where is that coming from? Because we can't be alright. I remember, I'm gonna bring home the point, but I'm just gonna say this. I remember watching National Geographic one day, and they're saying rats, they have a tendency to want to like kind of kill themselves, but it's not them. There's a parasite that attaches to them, affects the brain, and it will do things. It's like that parasite is manipulating the rat, attaching itself, taking control, and of course you'll see the rat putting itself in certain situations where it's trying to kill itself, and of course once the rat is dead, the parasite can get to feed off of it as it's already feeding off of it, but yeah, it basically takes it over. The only time you will see something in nature that is behaving as it is not, or it's trying to kill itself, is when something else that is not a part of it has acted as a parasite. And I feel like that has happened to our society or us as beings, because it's not natural for us, based on how we treat each other, based on how we treat our environment, nature, that we are actually one with, made from the same fabric as. We are destroying it also, at destroying ourselves as a result of that. So yeah. I believe that, yeah, I'm covering all of this because I realize that we're not being who we are. I'm trying to find back your comment. Rat King? What? Yeah, I'm so sorry. Yeah. I understand why you got lost a little bit. I got lost too. What are you talking about, Rat King? I was trying to find back the comments. Okay. The thing is, I'm reading the comments and I'm like trying to answer to what the person said, and then, okay, listen, this is my first time doing this. I'll work it out. Okay, I'll work it out. Okay, here we go. It took me hard, as he was against all this shit, and Alzheimer's is terrible. Really, really terrible. Yeah. Okay, understand. Well, we're all here to learn. We're always learning from each other. Salenius. Am I pronouncing it correctly? Selenius. Rat King is a bunch of rats entangling their tails. Oh! And getting it knotted. Groomed by feet. They die knotted together? What the fuck? I remember watching National Geographic because I used to love watching documentaries, and I was watching something on rats, and I saw that the Rat King, that entanglement. I didn't even realize that they die like that. I always thought that perhaps they got disentangled, and yeah, that's a horrible death, because I'm imagining they're trying to gnaw themselves free and they end up dying. Tassos. What country are you from? I'm sorry, Thark. Hey. Oh, I thought you said something and I didn't notice, but I know I'm confused because I don't see why you're saying a simple apology would have sufficed. Ah, okay. So we have Germany and Greece in the host. Okay, my apologies. If I missed something, Tar. It wasn't mine. Wasn't not in my intention. We respect everyone on this platform, so if I say something that offends you, you know, I'm sorry. I hold my view, but yeah. Tigger, you cast a spell booster. Oh, thank you, thank you. Okay, all right. Selena's castle. Okay. Cause I'm seeing Selenius, I'm more inclined to say that, or remember that, I should say. So. Okay, appreciate it. I like when people are upfront, not with in the intent to be malicious, but effective communication, even through a screen, is great communication, and I would love to have that with my audience. So it is appreciated that you're not afraid to speak up if I offend you. But yeah, I was just, because we're talking about the whole war situation. I got to thinking the other day, why is it that when it is that government bodies decide to go to war, it's the people who suffer? But it's fine. My hands are getting hot. I'm not sure if anyone else has this issue. Like from last year, anytime I'm touching any form of electronics, my hands get really hot. Not sure if anybody else is having that experience. Especially with the phone, it's like I'm feeling the vibration, and yeah, not sure if anybody else is having that experience. Thanks for the rose, Junior. Thank you, much appreciated. So it took my reverse scale. It was hell with Alzheimer's, and the story he remembered, which wasn't his family. Sir? Oh, you said he had Alzheimer's? Alzheimer's? Who had Alzheimer's? He remembered. I know I missed something you said, which is why I was lost when I saw that. Okay. Yeah, because I know I missed something. But yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying the stream. Okay. Alright, what time? Ooh, I'm just realizing the time is almost 12 o'clock. I'm not sure what time it is where you are. So I'll end it a little after 12, or I'll end the stream at 12. But yeah, I do appreciate you guys coming here and being a part of this. It's my first real podcast. I would like to think of it as my official, because I've had little things here and there, but this is my first actual podcast for Love Manifest Truth, I'm hoping to have some music the next time that I'm here, so you guys can jam with me, and it can be even more of an inviting environment. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Whew. All right, so yeah, I'm still working on everything. So I will be back here next week, Tuesday. If I'm not sure how I may feel about it, but I may be here on Friday. But if I'm here on Friday, it's more likely around this time I'll be on, to be honest. But definitely every Tuesday at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I'm here. So, and I need to highlight the topic that we're discussing for each stream, each podcast. So we know this is what once it is that you come on the podcast, on the stream, you know what the topic is for the night, and that is what we're focusing on, instead of us jumping from one to the other. Have some structure to this. But I am learning as I progress, so we'll get there together. But thank you for joining me, and I will see you, if not on Friday at this time, I'll see you on Tuesday, next week Tuesday. Bye.